Oh my goodness. I'm at Harvard. Wow. To President Faust, my fellow honorants, Carl, that was a beautiful thank you so much, and James Roddenberry, Stephanie Wilson, Harvard's faculty with a special bow to my friend Dr. Henry Louis Gates. All of you alumni with a special bow to the class of 88 and your $150 million. And to you, members of the Harvard class of 2013, hello. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of the conclusion of this chapter of your lives and the commitment of your next chapter. To say that I'm honored doesn't even begin to quantify the depth of gratitude that really culminates an honorary doctorate from Harvard. And not too many little girls from rural Mississippi have made their own way here to Cambridge. And I can tell you that I consider today, as I sat on the stage this morning, getting teary for you all and then teary for myself. I consider today a dividing milestone in a very long and a blessed journey. My one today is that I can be a source of some inspiration. I'm gonna address my remarks to anybody who has ever felt inferior or felt disadvantaged or scared by life that was speech for the quote. Actually, I was so honored that I wanted to do something really special for you. I wanted to be able to have you look on the disease and there would be free master and doctor degrees. But I see you got that covered already. I will be honest with you, I felt a lot of pressure over the past few weeks to come up with something that I could share with you that you hadn't heard before because after all, you all went to Harvard and I did not. But I realized that you don't have to necessarily go to Harvard to have a driven obsession type A personality, but it helps. And while I may not have read it from here, I admit that my personality is about as hard as it can come. You know, my television career began unexpectedly. As you heard this morning, I was in a Miss Fire Prevention contest. That was when I was 16 years old in Nashville, Tennessee, and you had the requirement having to have red hair in order to win up to the year that I entered. So they were doing a question and answer period, and I wasn't going to win under the swim. So during the question and answer period, the question came, "Why, young lady, what would you like to be when you grow up?" And by the time they got me on a good answer, we're gone. So I had seen Barbara Walter on the Today Show at this morning, so I answered, I wanted to be a journalist. I would like to tell other people stories in a ways that make difference in their lives in the world. And as the words were coming out of my mouth when, whoa, this is pretty good. I would like to be a journalist. I want to make a difference. Well, I was on television by the time I was 19 years old. And in 1998, I launched my own television show with a relentless determination to succeed. At first, I was nervous about the competition, and then I became my own competition, raising the bar every year, pushing myself as a show familiar to anybody here. Eventually, we did make it to the top, and we stayed here for 25 years. We operate when the show was number one in our time slot for 21 years, and I had to tell you, I became pretty comfortable with that level of success. But a few years ago, I decided, and you will at some point, that it was time to recalculate, find a territory, break new ground. So I needed so I launched on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Didn't you know, just worked out for me. So 1 year later, after launching R, nearly every media outlet had proclaimed that my new venture was a flop. Not just a flop, but a big bomb flop, they call it. I can still remember the day I opened up the USA Today and read the headline, Oprah not quite standing on her own. I've been really using it today. Now that's the nice new paper. It really was, this time last year, the worst period in my professional life. I was stressed and I was frustrated, and quite frankly, I was embarrassed. It was right around that time that President Faust called and asked me to speak here, and I thought, you want me to speak to Harvard graduates? What could I possibly say to Harvard graduates, some of the most successful graduates in the world, in the very moment when I had stopped succeeding? So I got on the phone with President Faust and I went to the shower and was either dead or a bad of ears. So I chose the shower. I was in the shower a long time. I was in the shower. The words and all him came to me, and you may not it. And bye bye. When the morning comes, and I started thinking about when the morning might come, because at the time I thought I was stuck in the home. And the words came to me, triple don't last go away from that hymn. The truth shall pass. And I thought, as I got out of the shower, I'm gonna turn this thing around and I will be better for it. And when I do, I'm gonna go to Harvard. I'm gonna speak the truth of it. So I'm here today to tell you I have turned that network around. And it was all because I wanted to do it by the time you're gonna speak to you. Thank you so much. You don't know what motivation you will have to me. Thank you. I'm even prouder to share fundamental truths that you might not have learned, even as graduates of Harvard, unless you studied the ancient Greek hero with Vivacanaji. Vivacanaji, with the comment is moment said, please, Mr. Winfrey, work decisively. I shall work decisively. This is what I want to share. It doesn't matter how far you might rise. At some point, you are bound to stumble, because if you're constantly doing what we do, raising the bar, if you're constantly pushing yourself higher, the law of averages, not to mention that myth of the artist, predict that you will at some point fall. And when you do, I want you to notice, remember this. There is no such thing as failure. Failure is just like trying to move us in another direction. Now, when we down dance and horn, look like a failure. So this past year, I had spoon-fed those words to myself. And when you're down in a hole, when that moment comes, it's really okay to feel bad for a little while. Give yourself time to mourn what you think you may have lost. But then, here's the key. Learn from every mistake. Because every experience, encounter, and particularly your mistakes are there to teach you and force you into being more who you are. And then figure out what is the next right move. And the key to life is to develop an internal, moral, emotional GPS that can tell you which way to go. Because now in your short result will reach Harvard 2013. In a very competitive world that really is calling a car because I tell you as one who employs a lot of people, when I see Harvard, I see a little stranger and say, where is she or she? Renaming. It's an impressive college car that can lead to impressive results in the year ahead. Lawyer, senator, CEO, scientist, physicist, winners of Nobel and Pulitzer Prizes or late night talk show hosts. But the challenge of life I found is to build a resume that doesn't simply tell the story about what you want to be, but a story about who you want to be. It's a resume doesn't just tell about what you want to accomplish, but why. A story that's not just a collection of titles and positions, but a story that's really about your purpose. Because when you inevitably stumble and find yourself stuck in a hole, that is the story that will get you out. What is your true calling? What is your dharma? What is your purpose? For me, that discovery came in 1994 when I interviewed a little girl who had decided to collect pocket change in order to help other people in need. She raised $1,000 on by herself, and well, that little girl, I wonder what I could do. So I asked for our viewers to take up their own chain collection, and in 1 month, just from pennies and nickels and dimes, we raised more $3 million that we use as students from every state in the United States to college. That was the beginning of the Angel Network. And so what I did was simply I asked all viewers, do what you can, whatever you are, from whenever you sit in life, give it your time or your talent, your money if you have it, and they did. Extend yourself in kindness to other human beings whenever you can. And together we built 55 schools in 12 different countries and restored nearly 300 homes that were devastated by Hurricane Rita and Katrina. So the Angel Network, I've been only in the air for a long time, but it was the Angel Network that actually focused my internal GPS. It helped me to decide that I wasn't just gonna be on TV every day, but that the goal of my shows, my interviews, my business, my philanthropy, all of it, whatever adventure my pursue was to make clear that what unites us is ultimately far more redeeming and compelling than anything that spares me, because it had become clear to me and I wanted to know isn't it clear in the beginning, because I said I've been on television since I was 19 years old. But around 94 I got really clear, so don't expect the clarity to come at one to know your purpose right away. But what came clear to me was that I was here on earth to use television and not be used by it. To use television to illuminate the transcendent power of our better angels. So this angel network, it didn't just change the lives of those who were happy, but the lives of those who also didn't happen. It reminded us of who we are, or what we are, on what we may believe is possible, and more importantly, it becomes powerful to come together in common purpose and common effort. I saw something on the Billboard show recently that so reminded me of this point. It was an interview with David and Francine Wheeler. They lost their 7-year-old son, Ben, in a Sandy Hook tragedy. And even though gun safety legislation just to send on the background check, they talked about how they refused to be discouraged. Francine says that she said, our hearts are broken, but our spirits are not. I'm gonna tell them what it's like to find a conversation about change that is love. I'm gonna do that without fighting them. And then her husband David added this. You simply cannot demonize or vilify someone who doesn't agree with you, because the minute you do that, your discussion is over, and we cannot do that any longer. The problem is too enormous. There has to be some way that this darkness can be banished with light. In our political system and media, we often see the reflection of a country that is polarized, that is paralyzed, and is self-interested. And yet, I know you know the truth. We all know that we are better than a cynicism and a pessimism that is regurgitated throughout Washington and the 24-hour cable news cycle. Not my channel, by the way. We understand that the vast majority of people in this country believe in stronger background check because they realize that we can uphold the Second Amendment and also reduce violence that is brought upon children. They don't have to be incompatible. And we understand that most of Americans believe in a clear path to citizenship, that for the 12 million undocumented immigrants who defy the country, because it's possible for more enforce of our laws, and at the same time embrace the worst on the statute library that generation has been messed up to assure we can do both. And we understand, I know you do because you went to Harvard, that people from both parties and no party believe that indigenous mothers and families should have access to healthy food and roof over their heads and a strong public education. Because here in the richest nation on earth, we can afford a basic level of security and opportunity. So the question is, what are we going to do about it, and what we going to do about it? Maybe we agree with the beliefs, maybe you don't, maybe you care about this issue, and maybe there are challenges that you, class of 2013, are passionate about. Maybe you want to launch your television show, or maybe you simply want to create some change your parents would be appreciative about now. The point is, your generation is charged with this task of breaking through what the party politics has thus far made imprevious to change. Each of you has been blessed with this enormous opportunity of attending this prestigious school. You now have a chance to better your life and the life of your neighbor and also the life of our country. When you do that, let me tell you what I know for sure. That's when your story gets really good. My general always says, when you learn, teach, when you get, give. That, my friends, it was give your story purpose and meaning. So you all have the power in your own way to develop your own urgent network, and in doing so, your class will be armed with the more tools in relevant and empower and than any other generation in history. I did it in an analog world. I was blessed with a platform that at its height reached nearly 20 million viewers a day. Now, as in the world, Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr, you can reach billions in just a second. You're the generation that rejected prediction about your detachment and your disengagement by showing up to vote in a record numbers in 2008. And when the pundits said, they talked about you, they said you too they supported, you be too rejected. To read that same kind and turn out in 2011, and that's who you are. This generation, your generation, I know, has developed the finely honed radar for PS. Can you say PS at Harvard? The spin and foreignness and artificial nastiness that saturates so much of our national debate. I know you understand better than most that real progress requires authentic an authentic way of being, honesty, and above all, empathy. I have to say that the single most important lesson I learned in 25 years talking every single day to people was that there are common denominator in our human experience. Most of us, I tell you, we don't want to be divided. What we want, the common denominator that I found in every single interview, is that we want to be validated. We want to be understood. I've done over 35,000 interviews in my career, and as soon as I came shut up, everyone always turns to me and inevitably always asks the question, was that okay? I heard it from President Bush. I heard it from President Obama. I have heard it from heroes and from housewives. I heard it from victims. I even heard from Beyonce and all of her Beyonce's. She finished performance, hands with my microphone and says, well, that's okay. For friends and family, yours, enemies, strangers, and every argument in every encounter, every chance I will tell you, they all want to know one thing. Was that okay? Did you hear me? Do you see me? Did what I say mean anything to you? And even though this is college, where Facebook was born, my hope is that you will try to go and have more face-to-face conversations with people you may disagree with. That you have the courage to look them in the eye and hear the point of view, and have made sure that the speech and distance and the naivety about the world doesn't cause us to lose our ability to stand in somebody else's shoe and recognize all that we share as people. This is imperative for you as an individual and for our success as a nation. There has to be some way that this darkness can be banished with light, said the man whose little boy, with a mask on, enjoyed an ordinary Friday in December. So whether you call it soul or spirit or higher self, intelligence, there is, I know this, there is a light inside each of you, all of us, that illuminates your very human beingness if you let it. And as younger from rural Mississippi, I learned long ago that being myself was much easier than pretending to be Barbara Wallace. Although I was first started because I had Barbara in my head, I was trying to sing like Barbara, talk like Barbara, move like Barbara. And that was the end of my being Barbara. I cracked myself up on TV. Couldn't stop laughing at my real personality came through, and I figured out, oh gee, I can be much better opera than I pretend to be Barbara. I know that you all might have little anxiety now and hesitation about leaving the comfort of college and putting those Harvard credentials to the test. But no matter what challenges or setbacks or disappointments you may encounter along the way, you will find true success and happiness if you have only one goal that really is only one, and that is this: to fulfill the highest, most truthful expression of yourself as a human being. You want to max out your humanity by using your energy to lift yourself up, your family, and the people around you. The illusion Howard Stern said that is about. He said, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what must you come alive, and then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. The world needs people like Michael Sturgeon's birth from Fort Lauderdale, When Michael was 8 years old, Michael nearly died from battery infection that cost him both in his hand and both his feet, and his instant and very little boy became quadruple amputee, and his life was changed forever. But losing who he once was, Michael discovered who he wanted it to be. He refused to sit in that wheelchair all day and feel sorry himself, so with prosthetics, he learned to work and run and play again. He joined his middle school lacrosse team, and last month when he learned that so many victims in the bottom Marathon apartment would become new amputees, Michael decided to banish that darkness with light. Michael and his brother Harris raised MagicRun.com to raise $1 million for the amputees by the time Harris ran for 2014 Boston Marathon. More than 1,000 miles away from here, these two young brothers are bringing people together to support this Boston community the way the community came together to support Michael. And when this 13-year-old man was asked about his fellow amputees, he said this. First, they will be sad. They're losing something they will never get back. And that's scary. I was scared. But they'll be okay. They just don't know that yet. We might not always know it. We might not always see it or hear it on the news or even feel it in our daily lives. But I have faith that no matter what, class of 2013, you will be okay. And you will make sure our country is okay. I have faith because that 9-year-old girl who went out and collected the chain. I have faith because of David and Francie Wheeler, and I have faith because of Meg and Harris, and I have faith because of you, the network of angels sitting here today. One of them, Kenisha Williams, came to Harvard 4 years ago. Khadija had attended 12 schools in 12 years, living out of garbage bags among friends and prostitutes and drug dealers, homeless, going into department stores and Walmart in the morning and battle herself that. And today she graduates as a member of Harvard class of 2013. From time to time you may stumble, fall, you will for sure countenance, no doubt. You will have questions and you will have doubts about your path. But I know this, if you're willing to listen, to be guided by that still small voice that is the GPS within yourself, that find out what makes you come alive, you will be more than okay. You will be happy, you will be successful, and you will make a difference in the world. Congratulations, class of 2015. Congratulations to your families and friends. Good luck, and thank you for your listening. Well, is that okay?